They tried to lock up freedom. They seized the book, ripped out its spine, flung it in the fire. Pages fluttered through smoke. They grabbed the pages, scratched out lines, crushed them in their fists. Words squeezed through knuckles. They twisted the words, tore out sound, swallowed them in their silence. The heart of the book cried out. The pages grew wings. The words breathed. Freedom! I was born into a society which was deeply, deeply racialised. This was South Africa, and it was even before the apartheid government came into power. And indeed, the world into which I was born, the society into which I was born, was it was a bubble. And in that bubble, how do you know what is beyond that bubble when you're in a bubble? And so on my birth certificate, it's under my mother's name, there's the word race, and next to that is written European. That classification, European, meant white. You were top of the ladder. The majority of people, black South Africans, were put at the bottom of the ladder. Anyone who'd come from India, as my husband's ancestors had, was classified just one above black African. And then for where people who didn't fit neatly into any classification because of their mixed heritage, which I believe most of us have, were called coloured. And here was I, a child born 6,000 miles away from Europe. And it was really only when I got to university that my bubble was slashed and I really began to see what was around me, because I do think it's possible for us to look but not to see. And so one of the things that I didn't understand was how much I was part of this process of suppression, of oppression. Children with my classification, who were classified white, had a second mother, and the second mom was almost invariably a black mom. And most of those second moms, certainly the second moms who were in towns, like I was born in Johannesburg, only saw their own family when their white family went away on holiday. And it was when I was about 11 years old, and we lived in a very small flat, knock on the door, man with a telegram, and that telegram was actually from my second mom. Bad news, cost money to send a telegram, and it told her that 2 of her 3 daughters, her youngest 2 daughters, had died. And they died from a disease, diphtheria, that I, as a child, the white child who'd been inoculated, could never have got. And she collapsed in front of me. I think I still retain a sense of anger that, not directed at any one person, but how easy it is to constrict children, to constrict young people. And nevertheless, I think that fiction is incredibly important because it operates on the power of if. If that were me, if I was there, how would it be for me, stepping into someone else's shoes? And it enables you to shift a kind of perspective. And I immediately knew that I would go to the heart first and then let the head follow. If one can tell a story, a good story, the questions would come very naturally to them. Apart from writing, which is the major part of my life, I would say, there are things that absolutely give me joy. And certainly grandchildren. And 3 grandchildren at the moment, all very different, all very unique, and that's wonderful. And friendship, how extraordinary. And friendships that cross boundaries. Again, I would say going back to my childhood and having the confinement. Imagine being a school where you're told you're only being friends with the blue eyes or the brown eyes. I mean, how stupid is that? But the friendships that I've made through life are ones that cross boundaries, and they're terribly important to me. That exists, and that reminds us that despite the barbarism, that beauty still is there.